the fuck out and find a round. And like you just look them in the face and they're like, wait a minute. Say that again? Fuck out and find a round.
That's the end of the fight right there.
Like,
It's
oh
over.
man, he meant that shit. It was like, oh, I don't even know what that means. I think I'm gonna leave. Oh man, I want to talk to you about this movie I watched today. It's called American Horror Stories. It's not, cause
okay,
right?
I was like, not again. You tried to talk to me about this show on 3 different
in the same series, no less. In the same series, no less. No, I watched a movie today called Changling.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, I thought that movie was from 2020.
Oh no, that's extra old.
Yeah, it's
That's
2008.
before she started adopting all them kids.
Yeah, and so this whole episode is really just gonna be about us talking. It's not good. It's very insulting. Like, it's not bad. It's just not good.
That was around the time. Let's see, people were pretty excited for that because it was also around. What was she in? Wanted?
Yeah, it might have been.
Was it Wanted or was it 21? No, it was Wanted, right?
I ain't never seen 21.
Okay, yeah, it was Wanted. Shoot, this one, yeah, that was.
In this movie, what happens is she leaves her son at home alone, and when she comes back, he's missing. And about 5 months go by, and eventually they think they found her son. And the kid that they find, or the kid they return to her, is not her son. Now, the fun thing is...
Oh, shoot, I just thought of something.
What's up?
That whole thing is a...
yeah, it's a condition.
No. It's either like Scottish or Irish mythology that your baby would be replaced with a changeling.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I do know there is a condition where you can get like head trauma, and you will think everybody in your family, like your immediate surroundings, have been replaced with the imposters.
Oh yeah, that's all crazy.
You can call it that, yeah. So they bring her the kid, and she's like, "Who the fuck is this?" I'm paraphrasing. And it's like, "This is your son," and she's like, "No, the fuck it ain't." And it's like, "Yeah, it is. Take him home."
He's so paraphrasing. This is line for line in the movie.
I would have killed for Angelina Jolie to be like, "No, the fuck it ain't." Like with a straight face. So she gets the boy home, and this boy is like, "Yeah, like I'm her son. Like I live at this address. My mother's name is this." All right. And the only reason I'm bringing it up, like the main reason I'm bringing it up, is because it gets to a point where he is like, I would say almost tormenting her with the fact that he's not her kid. He knows he's not her kid. And it gets very obvious.
Oh wait, he's really not?
No. You can tell. Like, I'd say, like, it's important to note that the audience doesn't get a great look at the son, because he's only on screen for a few moments, like for a minute or two at first, when we first see him. But it's not him. And so she can prove that it's not her son.
Nope, it's a fucking demon.
Oh, okay. She can prove that it's not her son. And so she's telling the LAPD, because this movie looks like it takes place in New York, but it doesn't, because every place in the United States looked exactly the same in the 20s. But what ended up she tells the LAPD, "Hey, this baby not my baby. Where my baby at though?" And the LAPD decided to send a what you would call a doctor over to her house, and he's supposed to help her come to terms with the fact that that's her kid, but she's not having it because it's not her kid. And it's not just a matter of like it's not her kid. It's like, well, if this isn't my son, where is my fucking son? Why aren't y'all out there trying to find my son? Like, the more y'all just try to like make me like convince me that this is my kid, the more time goes by that my son is just out there. So she takes him. This is one of my favorite parts. She takes the guy, the doctor guy, to a room in the house where she was like marking her son's height on the wall like they used to do back in the day. This kid was like 3 inches smaller than her son.
Right. Asiel holds the key.
And this sumbitch was like, well, you know, the boy's been through he's been through some traumatic stuff. And you know, these things
trauma made him shrink.
The stress and the trauma have, like, you know, likely shrunk. You know, they can have an effect on the body. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Are you?
Doctor put him up against the wall and said, "Stand up straight, son."
Yeah. Like, are you? Like, are you fucking serious? And so she's like, yeah, no. And so she decides to do some research of her own. Now, honestly, I thought that the idea of the movie would be that everybody would try to convince her that her son is, you know, this kid, or that her son never like went away or whatever. But that's not the case. It's simply like the LAPD were like, we did our job. Stop, you know, fucking saying we didn't. We did our goddamn job.
Got it.
It's a modern day LAPD.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is she takes her kid to his dentist. The kid's only been gone 5 months. Not 5 years, 5 months. She takes her kid to the dentist, and the dentist is like, your son had this issue with his teeth that made his teeth spaced out because there was, like, you know, flesh that kept them in a specific position, and there's no way that, like, in that condition couldn't fix itself without surgery. And she was like, is there a way that it could be like it could do this on its own? And he was like, in some circumstance, maybe, but that boy in there has not had that procedure. And she was like, would you be willing to put that in writing? And he was like, pardon my language, ma'am, but hell yes. And so the next step, she takes him to his school. And she and the teacher, old white lady, like, think like, you know, Miss Bullington, not the principal, the English teacher. She already ain't for the shit. Cause she's looking at this kid, and I think you can see the who the fuck is this look on her face. And she's, you know, like,
she softened in her old age.
Well, I'm talking about when we were her students. And so she's like, what's my name? And he's like, teacher. He's like, oh yes, but even teachers have names. What's mine? And he's like, I know who you are, but I don't remember your name. And she's like, okay, take your seat. And he sits in the wrong spot, and all the kids start laughing because they're all little shits. And she was like, I didn't say take a seat. I said take your seat. You should know where it is. You've been sitting in it for a year. And I'm like, this bitch wrong. God damn. Like, she rude as fuck. So she goes back to the LAPD with, like, all this information, and, like, the lead detective.
Hold on. Pause.
Oh, hell yeah.
One time I was hooked on the crack rock, and I was checking out welfare and a drug test. That's not good. Careful.
Pepper Jack's best hope. Who this cracker? You bitch. You talking to fucking too now. A thermos? That Freckle Rock. Pepper Jack love Freckle Rock. Oh my god. Hold on. I just want to point out that he took he took the thermos happily and moved on with his life. Yeah.
Oh
Bitch.
god.
You speak with
That is one
spoken
of the best scenes in the history of this show.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like by one of the main cast. Okay. So she returns to the LAPD and she's telling the lead detective played by this dude who was in Fargo. If you've seen Fargo, he plays he plays Dodd
Oh, right.
Gerhardt.
On my way.
Yeah, not you. Dodd Gerhardt. I don't know the name of the guy who plays Dodd. I just know I didn't like him. Like, I didn't like his character. He was a piece of shit. Like, he did his job very well, but he sucked. But he's like, I have my own doctors, and they can, you know, fucking do stuff too. I forgot what he said. But she's like, he gives her an opportunity. He's like, I'm going to ask you. Okay, no. What he says is, I'm going to tell you what I think happened. I think what happened is, like, you were enjoying the time that you had, your freedom, and when the kid came back, you just didn't want to give it up. You didn't want to give up the freedom.
Jeffrey Donovan? I know Jeffrey Donovan.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
the dude from Burn Notice.
I ain't seen Burn Notice. It is the dude from Burn Notice. I'll be damn. But he's like, yeah, I think you're like you got used to being able to go whenever you want, be with wherever you want, all this other stuff, and now you can't, and you're regretting it or whatever the fuck. And it's like, wow, bruh, you real with the shit now, huh? And so he goes out to the hallway and he gets like his people, and he asks her one more time, is the kid your son? And she's like, no. And so he's like, all right. And they grab her and they start to handcuff her. And okay, I knew it was going to happen. I kept trying to dodge it. Y'all saw me trying to dodge it. What ends up happening is they throw her in a loony bin. Immediately. Like, that's why. And my favorite part about this, because, like, it's a movie where, like, it's Angelina Jolie, and, like, I don't think anybody ever has a problem with asking Angelina to get naked. And, like, this movie didn't seem to be any different. They do this thing where they do this thing where they hose her down. And I couldn't help but thinking, why are y'all hosing her down exactly? Like, what's the point? Like, she was very clearly a normal citizen. She wasn't homeless. She wasn't, like, you know, a dirty person. Why were y'all doing? Why are we doing this? And then later on, we get like these female doctors to check on her. Like they're in the processing operation. Now keep in mind, they have not officially like filed any paperwork to have her put into this mental asylum. Like they haven't, but they're just putting her in anyway. And
yeah, they didn't even need to. Probably like once in the 20s. They didn't need to. She barely had the right to vote.
Yeah, and like, because keep in mind she's a single mom, so
Scarlet Letter all up in this house.
yeah, classic literature. Oh, but there's a scene where like the female nurse like puts on these like, you know those gloves that Homer wears at the plant to like handle like the isotopes.
Why?
Do you know what I'm talking about though? Because you watch the Simpsons.
Why?
Stop playing with me. So she puts these gloves on, and she's like, "Okay, spread your legs wider." And she goes digging around her cooch, looking for contraband, I guess. And I'm just like,
she clearly had planned on visiting.
Yeah,
the
she's
asylum.
like, this was all a part of her master plan. And I just couldn't help but think, like, why are y'all doing this to her? Like, why y'all doing this to her? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. And I know that the concept is like, well, we're doing it because we can. And it's like, okay, fair enough. I do suppose, fair enough. And like, it's the movie, the whole movie is kind of a nightmare. Like, it really is. It's kind of a nightmare. Here's what happens, because it's one of those movies that, like, even if you know what happens, like, it's how you get there. Because I've told the whole movie at this point, but it's how you get there that really makes all of it kind of insane.
Dude, this was directed, produced,
yes,
and scored by Clint Eastwood.
Yes,
he scored this movie,
dude. Once I realized it was his movie, I immediately was like, "Oh, that's what happened. That's what this is."
John Malkovich, Michael Kelly.
Yeah. Once I realized it was a Clint Eastwood movie, I was like, yes, all of this makes sense now. Like, all of this makes sense. It was like that. It's 100% why this movie is a batshit nightmare.
Oh crap! It's based on
a true event. Yeah.
an actual story.
Yeah. At the end of it all, what ends up happening is, turns out there was this dude who was going around abducting children, and he was like abducting boys specifically, and the kid who was pretending to be her son, like the kid who clearly knew he wasn't her son, like eventually breaks down and tells the truth about what happened. And the guy who had been who had abducted all the kids gets caught because he goes to visit his sister, and his sister and her husband were like already ready to call the cops once he showed up. And so, oh shit. Give me a second. Just there we go. So like it's very interesting in the sense that like once they find the guy who they are pretty sure actually abducted these kids, and they get him to acknowledge that this is what he's done, John Malkovich, the entire time John Malkovich is working against the LAPD because he knows that the LAPD has this agenda of not like helping find these children. Like he knows, and he's like, and they're not gonna help you, and they don't want you to point out their flaws. And so the more you fight against them, the more they're gonna just bury everything you do, and they're gonna make you look like an insane person, like the entire time you're just trying to find your son. And that's where he comes into play, and he gets this he gets this lawyer who has sued the state multiple times and has won every single time. And like they're like, we can't afford to pay him, and he's like, so I've chosen to do it pro bono. And that's when they go into the what you call it shit, the mental ward. And it's, dude, in the mental ward, woof. Like, what's the name of it? It's the dude with the burnt face from American Horror Story, from Murder House.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays.
No, I saw it. I was like, this movie has a good amount of people I know in it.
Yeah. It's from 2008. I don't even remember when American Horror Story started. That was like 2011, right? That was a while ago. But it wasn't that long ago. Okay. I was like, who is Lindsay McCarty? I got it though. I figured it out. And so yeah, like it. Oh, am I dying? Oh, I am dying.
I feel like it's interesting that they decided to go with that story, because reading about the actual person, this story is so much more interesting.
Well, you know,
was implicated in the murder of Walter Collins, but because his mother had confessed to murdering Collins and had been sentenced for it, the state chose not to prosecute Northcott of that murder. So he just came from a family of killers.
it happens. Well, it did. So clearly it does.
There's still two more to go.
Is he?
That's great.
Is he trying to stay sober or something? No.
So this guy abducted an undetermined number of boys and molested them. Typically, after molesting them, he would drive the victims home and let them go. 4 of them, however, he murdered at the ranch.
Yeah, that's what was that's where they all were. They were all at this ranch, and it's like the movie. Like I'm leaving a lot of things out for obvious reasons because you know.
Yeah, some people might go back and watch it.
Yeah, like, but it's good. The movie's good, but it's batshit insane to say the very least. It is nuts because like the stuff. Like so I was telling somebody else about the movie as I was watching it, and I was like, it feels like one of those things where it's like it's set in the 20s, but like it needs to be set in the 20s because there's no way this movie like would be set today, and because the problem is the movie needs women to not be taken seriously for it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the only way this movie works.
Well, I mean, it could be set today. I read something else that because Billy's face in the 20s or something. A lost it. I lost it.
Damn. I can get like halfway there. And all right, one more time.
That's why he picked her to star in the movie because he thought her face fit the twins.
Yeah, she looks terrible. Like the entire time, I was like, God, at least she looks old. Like, when I realized Angelina Jolie is like not really that old,
She's not even 50.
but she's done things that she's done to her face makes her look like she's very angular. And like, I guess personally, I don't like the angular look, and like that could be
It's not
why.
like stuff that she's done to her face. I don't think she's had anything done. I think that's natural because if you look at her brother, like she and her brother are practically identical. And I think it all comes from their mother because they definitely don't look like their dad.
Who, John?
Yeah, look at John and look at Angelina.
No, you right.
That apple fell far.
It was on a hill. Yeah. Damn.
Now, maybe by the time she turns 60 and everything starts to droop,
Maybe.
then we'll see the John in her.
And she'll do everything she can to not look like that dude. Because she
And
hates
yes,
her
she
dad.
will, 'cause- yes, she does. So,
All right.
a changeling. So I legit,
Hold on.
I
Hold on. We're done. We're done. We're done for this episode. My shoulder hurts. My thumb hurts. Golly, this game is rough.
well, he's going home, y'all.
No, I ain't done yet. I got more cocaine to sell. Y'all want some cocaine? I got the cocaine.
It'll make
Until-
you feel like a superhero.
Until next time, yo, we out of here. Peace.
Oh yeah, Brittany's back, by the way.
On Instagram?
Yeah,
Yeah, about right.
she's been back for days.
I ain't surprised.